homeless cop! Gordon, Captain Gordon, he's the homeless cop in history. From the town of Gotham, he's about to shout, GCPD!
No Man's Land. Stardate. No Stardate, because we're not in space. We can't go to space. Because there is no electricity except for except for Lucius Fox's magic batteries. Welcome to the Gotham Chronicle podcast, where we are looking at the episode Pena, Dura, if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm Josh, and here the correct my pronunciation is...
This is Donovan, back from the war.
And this is Jan, just chilling.
And like I said, we're taking a look at this week's episode of Gotham, where, let's see, the government has finally come to save him, including Shane West, who's so dreamy.
So dreamy.
So they go to Riddler's library, and it's like, wait, homeless cop, before you catch me, let's play a game called The Floor is Lava. And Jim, jumps up on the chair. Don't move, Shane West, the floor is lava. I must find the book to make the floor not lava. So he does, and they, there's some chases. It's been 4 days since I've seen this episode. I'm trying to remember, the specific plot beats. But
so far, you're doing good.
Excellent. Nigma, is trying to figure out what happened to him, and he gets kidnapped by the cast of Deliverance for some reason, and transported to Gotham's, often forgotten neighborhood, Little Louisiana, where he's hooked up to a car battery. Yeah, crank her up.
Yes.
And he's he remembers a flashback. I'm going to fix you, Edward. And every time that line is spoken, Oswald's dog hides under a chair further and further. No, I don't mean fix you that way. I'm talking about the other Edward.
You know what I've realized? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
That's where Jebediah comes from.
What if Jebediah was one of those kids, and when the car exploded, it scars his face, and that's what turns him into Jebediah?
That might be where
and then he turns into Cameron Monaghan, because I feel like that's an upgrade.
Yeah, they give him
I'm going to switch over to my phone because I found my earbuds.
Yay!
What about Jehoshaphat?
Yeah, Jehoshaphat, not Jebediah.
Jumpin' Jehoshaphat. I should have known you were behind this.
His name is Jumpin' Jehoshaphat? We gotta find Jumpin'.
Yes. He's always jumping, Bullock. He can never keep his feet on the ground. That's what I call him, Jumpin' Jehoshaphat.
I hate you so much.
What the fuck is that?
Riddler, after playing that game of Floor is Lava and cosplaying with the cast of Deliverance, he heads on over to Oswald's City Hall, where he's one of the best lines of the season, I have a bunch of questions for you, but first, did you name your dog after me? Well, you should see the whole pet shop I have in the back. It's named after every single member of the cast. I have a baboon named Butch, a cat named Selina. Anyway, so there's a little, nice little back and forth between them there, which it's one of my favorite lines, after Butch died, you were the only friend I had left. You shot Butch. That's besides the point. And so he's told to go find Hugo Strange, which he does, and Hugo Strange Hugo Strange is as Hugo Strange as ever. He's yes, I gassed you with this neurological thing that will cause you to not be able to move, but you will feel all the pain as I open up your skull and perform brain surgery without any advanced surgical tools. Now let me rewire this mind control thing. And then, homeless cop and his best friend Shane Eduardo West show up not so fast, Strange.
Me and my new buddy will put a stop to your evil scheme.
And then Eduardo's yeah, about that. Why are you stepping closer to Strange? No, Eduardo, you're pointing the gun in the wrong direction. You're supposed to point it to Strange, not at me. Oh, I see what's happening now.
I've been betrayed for the 12th time this show.
I should have known you were behind this, Eduardo. What are you talking about? You trusted me a minute ago. Now they go. The only place the homeless cop could. Down the garbage chute. Homeless cop. and Hugo Strange reboots, Enigma. You know Gotham City like the back of your hand. Find Jim Gordon and destroy him. Destroy. Meanwhile, Selina. The only other plot is Selina and Jeremiah, right? Selina is, at the Sirens Club.
Selina's pulling a Bruce from season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selina, how dare you, down your troubles in booze after murdering somebody? You did this at this time last season, and I was the one telling you not to. Oh, yeah. All right, we got to find Ivy to make you go on a vision quest now. No, heck no. She's like, come on, Bruce. Everything's all right here. I'm here with my best friends, Barbara and Tabitha. What? Selina, Tabitha is... And then, Barbara, interrupts you. Tabitha's in the back getting some ice. Shut up, Bruce. Then, Barbara comes out, with, a Tabitha wig. She's, not in blackface or anything, but she's wearing, a Tabitha wig. Hey, Selina, it's me, Tabitha. I sure am still alive. To infinity and beyond. And then Selena's since we're... Nesbit. Say what?
I'm Mrs. Nesbit.
Awesome. Awesome. So Selina says, hey, remember the pilot, when I saw your parents died? I didn't do anything about it because I didn't care. And also we're referencing the pilot a lot, which I think we'll have a lot to say about that
Bruce
cry. We can't make Selina a killer, guys. We can't. And then Alfred's like, oh, yes. Yeah, Selina never killed anyone before. Not my buddy Reggie or anything like that. But yeah. But one thing's for sure. Jeremiah is dead. Meanwhile, Jeremiah wakes up, and he and Echo proceed to not explain how he's still alive. And he crawls into Wayne Manor, and he's like, oh, yes, this is going to be awesome. This cliffhanger. What am I looking at? Mwahahaha.
And he brings back Penguin's mother and father.
That would be a weird twist. Surprise, Bruce. It's Penguin's mother and father, two characters that you never interacted with. You've gone too far this time, Jeremiah.
Basically.
Oh. All right. Where do we want to go first with this?
Overall thoughts, plot by plot, what do you think?
Yeah, or Shane West. I mean, I guess, what did we think of the episode?
What did I think about this episode? I did like the interactions between Ed and everybody, but that actor's just really good. Shane West did what Shane West does in everything. I don't know if you guys have seen Salem, but to me it was kind of just the same kind of character. He has 3 emotions on his face, and they all have a furrowed brow. So you just have to see how he's furrowing his brow to figure out what emotion he's trying to emote. Although I don't think we're going to see the "I'm in love with you right now" emote in this one. Bullock was great. He really did get a chance to shine, so that made me happy. I do agree with the flip on Bruce and Selina, which was nice. Barbara's still boring. Who else was in this episode? Because it wasn't Lucius.
Penguin?
Lucius.
B.D. Wong.
Yes, Hugo Strange. I love everything with him in it. Everything.
Oh
he can
my!
Breathe, just show up and just breathe, and I'm like, that is the most gripping performance I have seen on this show.
He literally did a George Takei. Oh my!
He did. It literally sucked me out of the scene because I was just like, what? But yeah, no. That's the only thing that broke my actual focus and immersion of the episode was him going, oh my, like George Takei. But other than that, it was totally. I like this episode. I thought it was pretty good.
I'm surprised it took him that long to do that.
Why?
Yeah.
This is his first time seeing anything that makes him go, oh my.
Oh, right. I forgot that. Freaking, what's his face is in this? Alfred!
I did too. He didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been very careful the whole season. He's like, I can't wind up in the hospital again, Master B. I'm just going to sit here and do nothing.
Basically, except you said that he is going to. Well, he said that he.
Yeah. Well, you can't sit still forever.
Yeah, I like this episode too, and I think it kind of I don't say revolves around, but like it revolves around the whole thing with Riddler, and which made sense, and the whole thing with Shane West, which I'm glad we didn't waste more episodes than necessary. By the end of the episode, he revealed himself to be a douchebag, because you knew it was going to happen. We can get to the whole idea of who he's playing in a bit, but as a character, I actually thought he was a good performance. I've not seen him since that Mandy Moore movie from the early 2000s, so he's much a Walk to Remember, yeah. And I thought he did a good acting job. I didn't think that he was stiff. I didn't think that he was like uncharismatic. I thought that he did a good job convincingly being on Gordon's side. Even like when Gordon let Penguin go, he's like, "Well, I hope you know what you're doing." Like he didn't pull rank then, and obviously he had a plan to get Riddler, but so he didn't care. But like I thought he did a pretty good job. I thought that Corey Michael Smith did a really good job throughout. I thought he did a really great acting job, being angry and desperate and kind of sad about himself. And that's also we can kind of get into if it was the Riddler would never do this, which I talked about last week, but I kind of want to get more into that. Yeah, I don't know if I like this as much as I did last episode, because last episode had that beautiful Foxma dynamic, but like this one was still pretty good. I think I didn't dislike much from this episode.
I agree. Fuck for life. Fight me. Fight me!
She's not kidding, folks. She just broke like a wine bottle and she's like waving it at us. Yeah, I liked this episode, but not as much as I liked the last few weeks. Like this one was, just like a little over okay episode for me, and basically a turning point episode, more or less. Like, okay, like now, we're going to find out why the Riddler's behaving the way he's behaving. We're going to find out, it turns out Walker and Eduardo can't be trusted, and like the series is taking a turn. Plus, like Jeremiah is like putting his next plan into fruition. But otherwise, yeah, I don't have. This episode didn't overtly offend me, but it wasn't like one of my favorites like the last few were. Like I've been really high on, like, I loved episode 1 a lot. I loved episode 3 and 4 a lot. This one was okay.
I think this episode's better than I think this is one of the better episodes of the season. Personally, I think that it's better than episode 2. I like it better. I think it's less silly than episode 3 was. But no, I dig this. I think this is better than average.
I liked the Penguin and Riddler scene. Especially with like Penguin like going right up to the gun, like like if you really think I'd betray you, then shoot me right now. But like it did tick me off a little bit, where like a second later he's like, don't let Nigma leave. Like tell Gordon that we're giving him to him. I was like, what, you jerk?
I still found that to be very Penguin-like, though.
It is, but it bothered me after like that whole heartfelt thing that he would do that. Like, I can't argue that it's out of character or like say like Oswald would never do that, but I wish that he didn't.
Well, I liked the whole bit of if I did betrayed you, I would let you know as your enemy, and I'm telling you that as a friend, because like there's no way he's lying about that. And yeah, he kind of sells him out later on, but like he's not, like he's there's a difference between giving him to Gordon and giving him to like the gangs of Gotham, and I don't know. Again, like, I like seeing the main characters kind of interact with each other rather than have their own stories. I thought the whole hillbilly thing was needless and stupid, and it was more of Gotham doesn't deserve to be saved because look what these idiots are here. But
he's a family too.
Well, no, can we create somebody that's better than this though? It's like, let her rip, boys. It's like My imagination's vaster than that.
Enigma's like horrible, like, acting like, oh no, please don't electrocute me again. Anything but electrocution, why that would short circuit my brain thing and allow this car to explode, killing you all and letting me go. I talk too much, don't I?
I mean, they bought a hook, line, and sinker, so like he was.
That was like hilarious. No, he said, "Oh no, too bad the fuel line is clogged," and then they cut the fuel. Like they just straight up cut it. I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about Shane West. He's come to Gotham. I don't have too much thoughts on Eduardo. I mean, and so far, like he's not Bane yet, but at this point, he's Bane in name only. Like nothing about this is like similar to Bane's backstory or
we can get into this because this is
attitude.
Is Bane's name Eduardo?
Well, yeah, I was just about to say. Here's the thing, because like his name is ultimately fan service. Because I remember we were kind of messaging amongst ourselves. Well, when his casting was announced, him playing. They said that they're gonna have Bane in this show, and then they said that he's playing a character called Eduardo, or they said Edmund Durance before the episode aired. And Edmund Durance.
Yeah, I remember that.
Edmund Durance is King Snake, who it's a British character. Tim Drake's fought him several times, and he eventually was revealed to be Bane's biological father. Like Bane was, his mom had him while she was in Pena, Dura, and she died, and so he lived in prison. But Durance, King Snake, was his father. So I thought, okay, so for no reason at all, Shane West is playing that character. Interesting. And then they said there's a photo, there's a release photo of what Bane looks like in this show. And then they said his name is Eduardo Durance. So basically, it's kind of like in Spider-Man 3 when they said the killer of Uncle Ben, whose name was like so-and-so Carradine. Like, it's technically sort of a trivia pull, in that makes a bit of sense. Like, you could still put like, oh, this is father of Bane, but that still makes no sense. And
we were unsure if he was playing Bane or Bane's father for a few months until like they said, okay, he's Bane.
And also, like, I mean, like, it's obviously, Bane has zero connection with Commissioner Gordon. Every show has had to be connected to Gordon, but whatever. that I don't like that, but like, I mean, he's nothing like Bane, and by that I don't mean that he should be, but like he's a new character who shares a name that's related to Bane biologically.
Yeah.
It feels unnecessary. Like they could have made another character, or even another minor character, to be like Gordon's mole friend from the past. There's no reason why it has to be like one of the most major Batman villains that they didn't get to because they blew their Venom budget in the first season. So I liked his character in this episode. I don't like the fact that like they are cramming the Bane Square, into a final season circle.
Yeah. I mean, what else are they gonna do?
Be a better show.
Like, what else are they gonna do? I don't know what you expect at this point. I mean, they're trying to pull out. I think they're trying to pull out. They're definitely not. That was terrible. They want to go big. They're not going home. And the biggest badge you can get after Ra's al Ghul, which was wasted, is Bane. Like, Bane is the biggest bad. I mean, because they didn't bring back Hush, so.
No, they didn't. I mean,
it was already in the.
Yeah, they brought Tommy Elliott back for like no reason last season. Like he showed up like twice and like never did anything. I thought something was going to come of that.
Well, at least they didn't make him Hush, which would have been stupid. Like at least he was still like a childhood friend. I mean, and what was I going to say? Like, you can't do Bane in No Man's Land if he's not established yet. Because Bane is in No Man's Land comic books, but he's already been established and he has a different dynamic. And in this one, it also, he was clutching his vest like constantly, and I get that Tom Hardy did that in The Dark Knight Rises, but like, and that was kind of a look, but like, this felt like the classic Bane move of clutching his vest, and it's like, stop it! Like that was like 5 years ago, or actually really 7, but like I don't know. It there were a few references.
I don't remember. It's not
been
that
a long
memorable.
time.
No, it's
Mostly
not.
because I didn't really care for that Bane.
A lot of people don't. And like the whole thing
I
about
don't care for any Bane that's including this one. That is a pawn versus an actual person.
well, I mean, there were a couple of references to like Bane from the comics because his second in command, who gets a name that I forget, his codename is Bird. In the comics, Bane had a posse of 3 henchmen: Chog, Zombie, and Bird. And Bird was his like right hand man, and he calls this dude Bird and this, and also he says, and this might be coincidence, but he says, we'll try to find Enigma by nightfall. Dun dun dun.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'll be, a no man's land. We're already in no man's land. Oh, sorry. Sometimes when I have a contagion, my brain gets a little legacy.
We've done that
Gordon's
before.
having a stroke. Yeah, we did.
Have they called it No Man's Land in the season so far? Like in
Say
dialogue, have they actually called it No Man's Land in this season so far, at all?
No, that was just the reference at the end of the last season, basically.
Like the
when they
title.
dropped.
Right.
Well, and it says it in the title card, No Man's Land, day 391 during the flash forward.
Does it say that? I mean, not that they were throwing that left and right in dialogue in the comics, but like they did call it that, and I just wonder if they actually ever call it that here. They just call it like, the cities have been abandoned, which is fine. I'm just bringing that out. It's not goofy or unrealistic for them to say No Man's Land because that's what they straight up did in like the very.
I'm trying to remember if when Gordon was talking to Walker, he's like, "Day, something."
I'm pretty positive Ben McKenzie's never said No Man's Land. They just said ever since America. It's been days
Since the bridges blew.
Yeah.
Which was not my fault.
Despite what the tote bag at Comic-Con looked like.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what does a tote bag at Comic-Con look like?
It was the one
The
where
bridges are blown.
he was saying in the middle of it
Gordon's
like D's nuts.
Yeah, Gordon's like standing over the blown bridges, that's right. I did this. Don't mess with homeless cop. Jim, we're all on the other side. Go.
I'm gonna see if I can find it. Because it really is a funny image.
Yeah.
It's not. I got not a great image of it, but it's basically that. Anyways, yeah. Ultimately, like I think Shane West does a good job. I think that he's a better actor than I remembered him being, and I thought that like on this, there's nothing wrong with this character in himself. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with him. There's just it hurts his character by being Bane.
I'm sorry, I just looked at the picture of him on the bridge that's exploded.
If I
Like,
can't
he blew
have a
himself.
home, then nobody gets a home.
Such bullcrap. Who is he posing for? Josh, do you have any thoughts on him being Bane?
Not sleeping with anymore.
I don't want to say I'm indifferent, but it's
You never care about the important stuff in this show, just the stupid stuff.
yeah.
It's true. That's why he's so happy about it.
The character, and I hate it when YouTubers and like other people say this because it's like, what do you mean they didn't do anything for you? But like, that's honestly, I feel like he didn't do anything for me one way or another. Like, I feel like if you replaced him with somebody else, like to like serve that plot and that purpose, it would not have made a difference to me so far. That makes sense.
You replaced him with.
I mean, that's what the writers are for. They could sit down and like figure out, like a character or something that works. And I don't like the whole idea, and TV shows do this where it's like, oh yes, my best friend from my past that I've never mentioned until now, who's always existed.
Hold on though. Okay, so here's a comic book reference from the New 52. Well, I think before Rebirth, when Jim Gordon was actually Batman, there is an arc where he goes into I forget where he goes. I think it was like the Middle East or something. And he finds his old crew, his old Marines group, and they work together. So to me, this felt like familiar to that story arc, except his military group is coming to him versus the other way around, even though it's only one person and not the whole entire like unit.
And we've referenced Jim's military career in the show before. Mm-hmm. So like it's not like a massive like retcon, like why are we doing this now? It's just I don't know. It doesn't feel
it's not the most well written of tropes. Yeah, it's like my old friend who I can trust on, who's also betrayed me. Like it is a cliche that the show couldn't help but indulge in.
Yeah, we already knew who he was going to be, like in the long run. I didn't know he was going to come in as his military friend. I just knew that he was going to be Bane. So when I saw this, I was like, geez, I wonder how. Okay, it's happening now. Sure.
Yeah, and what do we think about this revelation too? That like the government is behind Nigma, like derping around this whole season.
You know what? I mean, okay, I know where this is going, but like barring that, they could have just had, the government just let Gotham to rot rather than actively try to like destroy it through its villains. That feels, I don't know. It's surprisingly less realistic, even though the government shutting down a city would never happen in real life. Well, I mean, I say that, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But like,
State of the Union's tomorrow as we're recording this.
As far as we know.
I declare America a no man's land. You can't do that. Mitch McConnell, let him speak.
I sure hope no one will write bad reviews about us. My point is that, like, go ahead.
Not too big. It's not too big.
I'm sorry?
When he admitted that he had him blow up Haven, I thought maybe like Walker was thinking, okay, I have to have something catastrophic happen in order to send in the military so that we can help them. So I was thinking on that line, and then he goes like, it needs to be a show of loyalty. I was like, I have no idea what the is going on.
Yeah, like, I knew that Eduardo would go evil, but I didn't think he was already going to be evil. I thought it would be like one of those things where like, I can't breathe anymore and it's all your fault, homeless cop. I'm going to become Bane and get revenge, which would have been stupid, I guess. But like, it's an interesting twist. And it's like, okay, like what is going on here? But like, I didn't need Shane West for that, if that makes sense though.
Yeah.
It's a little much, and I think that like it almost kind of it's very Gotham-esque, but like in that way that I guess I don't think it's greatly written. The government doesn't have to have an invested interest in destroying Gotham because Jim Gordon has bad luck. That feels that is you feel less sympathetic for it because it's like, well, why are they doing that? Like what is the reason for that? What did Gotham ever do to America? I mean, the city, not the show. As we all know, the show's damaged America, but it's a needless and dumb twist that I kind of saw coming at the same time. It's like, well, of course they actually want to melt, activate a volcano or whatever in Gotham, because why wouldn't they? Because that's exactly kind of the extreme crap that the show deals. I don't know. It's. I guess it kind of exposes that I never really trusted the show to leave well enough alone.
I just want to see what they're going to do with it at this point, because it's all like, you said Jamie Murray, and I was like, clearly she's evil. She rarely ever plays a good person. Very rarely. Like, they typecast her hard.
At this point, it's not a spoiler to say, yeah, Jamie Murray's evil. She's sending like Shane West and Riddler to kill homeless cops. She's evil.
Not homeless cop, just homeless people in general.
Yeah, that's true. Well, also, I mean, like, when he said, your mission is to shoot the Riddler or I shoot you, and then Gordon just, like, left, the Riddler to be shot, and he didn't shoot the Riddler.
Wait, I have an idea, Ed. I did this with Oswald in the pilot. He, like, puts Ed right next to the garbage disposal and, like, whispers to him, never come back to Gotham. and like shoots next to his ear and pushes him down the thing. Like, okay, I shot him. Why are you winking? No. And then like Riddler comes out of the other end of the garbage chute and like finds a homeless guy and like kills him for his sandwich.
Wow.
It is just like season 1.
We're mirroring season
really
1
good.
all over the place. And he gets a job as a dishwasher and like works his way up.
Well, since this absolves Riddler of any like, can I just say? I know we talked about this last time.
I love Riddler. He's like, I don't kill people except for Miss Kringle and Officer Doherty and all those people. Like,
And all those random people.
yeah,
But I wouldn't kill the whole group. Like, remember when he did Riddle Time? Those are people who didn't hurt him.
Oh, that's
He was
right,
like,
the game show.
No, I only hurt people who hurt me first, except for like Riddle Time.
Yeah, this bullshit about like, you know, I mean, they really say I could never kill those innocent people, and like, I talked about this last time. That to me is like, okay, we do enjoy these characters, but I don't know if they would have such a moral line that they would never cross. Like, that feels like the show being too close to his characters to like have them do that. And I'm not saying like, you know, they should be that evil or whatever. I don't think the show's demonstrated that they are not that. Whether they are or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know. They're trying to make everyone super sympathetic in this last season. I guess they're just trying to make us all feel bad that the season's ending.
like I remember when Riddler was burying Miss Kringle's body, he like saw someone like found his spot, so he had to kill them, and it was like a whole joke. He kept on killing people.
He killed an innocent woman like just last episode, whether she attacked him or not. Like
Yeah.
it's like the show doesn't know what's good and what's not.
But it's different. Those were like, you know, like Will was there, who like, you know, would have broken his other arm that night or something in bed. I do love the moment where he's like, Jim, I can explain. I didn't kill those people. Well, not exactly. And Jim's like, oh my God, are you serious? You actually did it. Like,
You son of a bitch. 9 minutes and 2 seconds into the episode.
I love Penguin's reaction too. Like when he finds out, like he's like horrified and like worried for his friend. Like, oh Ed, what have you done now? Which the shippers on Twitter were all over that moment. Like, did you see how sad Penguin was? OTP, big marble pot.
Back and forth, baby.
Nope. Fight me. Swear to God. Foxma for life.
Hey, Riddler could cheat.
I'm more Nick Mobblepot because that's a much more heinous coupling. Fox can do better, but I do like the Foxmanship.
I feel like Foxma, like he can do the kind of thing that Lee did, except he would see. Unlike, I'm dying. So unlike how Lee tried to manipulate him, Foxy could literally just have him be like, but you're going to be the greatest criminal by out maneuvering and outthinking all the other criminals. You know, he could like try to shift him from being like, how many banks have you robbed in a day, to basically becoming Sherlock.
Through the power of love.
Yeah, and also like exercising, like challenging his mind, and oh God, it would just be so sexy.
Folks, you missed like after we were done recording last week, like we went on Tumblr and we like got trapped in the cave of wonders that is like Gotham shipping on Tumblr, and they were like, did you notice when Lucius handed Nigma the file, he looked sad, like he had forgotten all about the file because he was enjoying being with Lucius so much.
Well, in fairness,
and he looked as if he wanted to say,
true.
like
They weren't making that up.
It is true.
I know that, but it was like we saw all the shipping.
2 Tumblr post essay, like breaking down every scene between Foxy and Nigma. It was like intense. I read all of it. Like, all of this is true.
Well, it's like, notice, that Ed is standing, or no, it was that Lucius is standing in the doorway because he loves watching Ed work, and he also wants to keep his distance because of like it was
Okay,
very well thought out.
yeah, I remember that. That was a bit much.
Yeah, but it was still he wasn't that he loved watching him work. It was that he respected his space and he acknowledged that he was smart and that he could work it out. He was just letting him do his thing.
That's why I like having Jan on the show, because she's the type of person that points out stuff like that. And it was like, she's like, don't you see, when Selina sat on the stool and faced that way, it was because she was trying to convey this emotion to Bruce. What do you think, Josh? And I just stand there looking like the SpongeBob chicken meme going, oh, homeless cop. There sure was homeless stuff this episode.
I do really like nuances between characters, like in their relationships. Like one of the first things I noticed when, in the very first scene where Shane West shows up as Eduardo, you see this look of relief and happiness on Jim's face, like, "Yo, my God!" And then he is "Oh my God" as he can get, and he just reaches over and that strong grasp on his shoulder, like, yes, you are here. It's like basically brofing his shoulder.
This was a Silver Age cover. Bullock could have a thought balloon, now that Shane West is here, homeless cop has forgotten all about me. Choke.
That's exactly what happened. Whatever happened
It's
to poor
true,
Bullock? I think that my final word on the Riddler thing is that I'm fine with them kind of showing what these villains wouldn't do. I just think that this is the wrong time to show that after 5 seasons of heinous activity.
5 seasons of him killing
a
people.
lot more they can do.
Yeah. It's as a rule, it's fine. Riddler has limits, but let's not pretend that the audience should have been aware of that up to this point. Who was like, oh my God, the Riddler, that's so out of character when they initially showed that? Nobody. So
nobody. We were just like, okay, I wonder.
There's so much breath on that. It feels like wasted space, and it feels kind of too precious. It's like, the Riddler, Barbara, do you know me? Would I ever do that? It's like, I don't know, maybe, yes.
Let's see. And then Barbara has a flashback, so every single time the Riddler's been violent, including moments that she wasn't around for, chopped off Tabitha's hand,
They do that.
Riddle time. Killed those people in that yard.
For hand. And then she was fighting directly after that.
Yeah, she they put it on ice and went to the hospital.
I didn't even think. No, but yeah, you reattach it, but then she was just using it like it was never unattached.
Yeah, I don't know if reattaching a limb is that way really.
Well, because of her Saint Dumas blood, and Hugo Strange gave her I don't know, a magic vitamin. She's okay until she gets stabbed by Oswald and the actress leaves the show.
Speaking of stabbing,
good.
Well, I mean, Josh pointed out that they kind of don't explain how whichever Joker this is survived, because he's like, you should have wore the armor like I told you, which implying that he didn't. And he's like, I had to be stabbed at least once so they'd be convinced. It's like, but what about the other 10 times?
Yeah, it's like, wait,
right?
What? How are you alive? Shut up. Rattle your billet around.
That was a real, there'll be plenty of time for explanations later. That just never happened. I wonder how the internet reacted to that.
I don't care how he survived. He just showed up and he's like, hey, I'm fine. And I'm like, okay.
This is the same show where, Butch Gilzine and Sophia Falcone get, shot in the head and, don't die, so...
Speaking of... Earlier I was looking up this episode and I accidentally put season 4 and I was like, holy shit, Sophia's awake?
Walker's only my middle name, Gordon. My first name is Sophia. Sophia, you son of a bitch. Well, let's get this over with. And he drops his pants.
Let's get this over with.
Good.
It's Hook Up with Exes week here on Gotham. Yesterday it was Barbara, today it's you. Jan starts watching.
I was like, oh man, this is a crazy turn of a. Wait, is this even the right episode?
Oh man, and Butch is back and he's Grundy again. Did somebody clone Tabitha? And Martine, what are you doing here? And
oh my god, you're ridiculous.
It would have been funny. It would have been funny if you never noticed. And while Don and I are talking about the episode, you're reacting as if it was season 4. You're like, yeah, and what'd you think when they went to the Narrows? And Don and I are confused at first, oh yeah, I guess that neighborhood kind of looked like the Narrows. And you just keep on referencing stuff that didn't happen, but Don and I are not sure what you mean, so we just go along with it.
Oh god, one time I was trying to watch a movie where Play, which is a trauma film. They're the people who do Toxic Avenger and other really shitty films. And one of the reasons James Gunn is getting slammed on Twitter for something he wrote a long time ago, because he used to make trauma films. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's a bad guy. So, he said something forever ago and forgot about it. Now, if he was saying it now, it'd be different. But I feel like he's matured and changed. So that's my thought on it. Anywho, so we're trying to watch this Kids at Play film, and we're like, oh god, he just crawled into his dad's body like a tauntaun. And then, Nando was all all I see is this guy with the little walitos. And we're just like, what? And he's like, yeah, he's got the little walitos. And then there's Mira Sorvino. And we're just like, is she in the back seat of the car? And it turned out he was watching Mimic. So we were all reacting horribly to this movie that had a child cutting his dad open and crawling inside, and he's all just watching the opening of Mimic, where this guy has little tin balls and an old man dies. I thought we were reacting to that. Really ridiculously.
I wish I was in these viewing parties. It's been so long.
Dude, my rabbit doesn't work anymore. We do it the old school way now.
3, 2, 1, play.
So Donovan and I did so many commentaries, and if one of us was buffering for half a second, it would just ruin the whole thing.
I want to talk about Selina, pulling a season 4 Davi Mazals. Yeah. And so I had to rewatch it. So I'm asking Jan, because this concerns Jan. Selina was very much like Davi Mazals. She was at the table, getting drunk with a lot of women. And I remembered, oh yeah, they kind of made her be. The Catwoman be bisexual in the New 52. Did you get a vibe watching that?
I didn't even notice they were women. I was just looking at her.
I was not looking at her.
I was just looking at her directly, because everything else to me looked kind of blurred out in my vision, because I kind of zoned in because I was looking specifically for her. Everyone else was background. I didn't even pay attention to them. As for making her seem bi, I don't feel like in that case that's what it was supposed to be going for. It was just women celebrating another woman in power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I guess it wasn't so
Yeah,
much...
if she was in on a girl, or some girl was on her arm, then I would have been yeah, because when you saw Bruce, the girls were rubbing his arms.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is not so much they were pushing for that, as it was, I guess, that entered my mind. Because the first time I watched this episode, I didn't think about it. But then the second time it was well, I mean, not that if a woman is never portrayed to be flirty or whatever, that she's automatically queer or whatever. But remembering how Catwoman's been recently rendered, and kind of just seeing that image, because I wonder, But I don't know. Especially because last episode we were talking about how many gay characters this show has had, for better or worse.
It's like really weird how they did it in the comic because I picked up on it and then I canceled my subscription. Not because I picked up on it, because I was all like, so the last issue that I have, Catwoman is coming in contact with the Yakuza, and she looks over at the main guy's daughter, and then they have a conversation after the guy steps out of the room. And it's a very brief conversation, and then she leaves, and I was all like, I ship it. It wasn't even like a sexual conversation. And then I was like, but I'm not going to get this ship, so I might as well just cancel my subscription. 2 weeks later, she's outed as bisexual. I'm like, God damn it.
They've made, I think, every major Batman woman character queer lately. Which is interesting. And I think that, like, I don't know if, I mean, obviously that's no problem with that. But I think that, like, they've been kind of playing it as it was obvious all along way. And I remember even writing that, like, you can do it with some characters like Poison Ivy, but I don't know if that plays with other characters. I think with Catwoman, that's definitely a much more recent thing, like, in terms of, like, characterization. But, it's all good.
I didn't feel like it felt like it was pandering to anything. It was a very organic sort of thing that happened. It was actually written pretty well, in my opinion, because, I snuck a peek in the comic store after.
They call that burn stealing.
Well, I was already dropping like hundreds of dollars, so.
Yeah. Honestly, my biggest takeaway from that, like, her being there was not like any hint of bisexuality, but it was like, oh, finally, her and Barbara are sharing a scene again together, because like they have not like been together or spoken since that whole Demon's Head thing, and I was like really bothered that Selina got crippled and like Barbara didn't come visit her, or Barbara wasn't like, oh no, Selina, because they were the Sirens, they were a team last year, and then like
they weren't a very
Tabitha
good
died. Team. Well, no, they weren't. Well, when your leader's Barbara Keene, what kind of a team is it going to be?
There's a Barb team.
Well, and like we have
no. It's basically she's the I in team.
Awesome. Then we have like a member of their trio dies, and we have not seen a scene of the two of them like together grieving Tabitha, and like I've joked, oh, Selina still doesn't know that Tabitha's dead, like but like, and at this point, like whatever, like I guess it happened in off-panel and that like Barbara and like Selina finally like spoke about it or whatever, but it's just
like, Josh, you're right about all that, but like the show doesn't care,
right?
I was actually surprised that Bruce didn't look there first, considering that she used to be part of that group.
She just comes and goes when she wants to. It's kind of like when she was living at Barbara Keene's like old apartment. She would just like, even though she was living there, she wasn't. It's not like she would like go there and sleep every night. It was just like a base of operations, like a Pokemon center where she can like randomly go and recharge before going out to the next gym leader. I heard that sound effect.
Perfect.
Awesome. And by the way, like, okay, Selina's whole like, oh, I just didn't care, blah blah blah. I know this is, I guess I'm stating the obvious when I say this, and like this isn't some profound thing. Of course she's lying, and of course she's trying to hurt Bruce, because when you watch that episode again, the pilot, she obviously is very affected by it. Like, she's very horrified when she watches it happen, and seeing it affects her so much that like she stalks Bruce for like the next 2 episodes. She's like hanging outside of Wayne Manor spying on him and stuff like that. Like, she was very like fascinated by him watching that. So no, I don't buy her whole like I don't care thing.
See, I'm glad you remember that, because I didn't remember that.
I rewatched the pilots because every once in a while, one of the kids like asks to watch like Gotham with me. So like a few of us will like. So I've seen the pilot a few times with like different people, and also because of the amount of times I saw the pilot, like when it first came on, like I remember it a lot better than a lot of other season 1 episodes. But like, yeah, I remember like when the parents get shot, you see like Selina, she's like on the little fire escape, and she's like visibly like shaken and like almost holding back tears. Like, she is upset and she's affected by it. And she was, like, stalking Bruce afterwards. Like, you remember her, like, hanging outside of Wayne Manor, and I think she even, like, came to the funeral.
Well, I remember that until, like, the third episode or whatever that was called Selina Kyle, she didn't speak at all. Like, she did not speak at all for that first episode, which I thought was pretty powerful,
Yep.
and then she started talking.
Yeah. I was wondering, how long are we going to do this? Selina Kyle doesn't talk then. And then, like, she talked. I was like, okay.
Yeah, because you guys also did that. How long is it until Barbara leaves the apartment?
She's left that apartment, all right.
Oh yeah, hasn't been back since. So you got your wish.
Yeah, that apartment is, like, forgotten about. Anyway, yeah, so Selina, what do you think about her whole, like, I don't care about anyone but me kid, which,
I'm
like,
so sick of this from her. That's all she does. Every season, that's always her storyline. I don't care, but I secretly do care. Like, it's this Tsundere. How do you pronounce it? Tsundere?
Tsundere.
Tsundere. It's a Tsundere bullshit that, like, I've been sick of since, like, season 3. Like, I don't know. Like, do they have nothing else they can do for her?
Season 1.
Yeah, but like, they've been repeating this so consistently that, like, you would have thought at some point they would have found a new storyline for her.
She's Sean from Boy Meets World.
And I get it. You know, the whole experience had an effect on her. But you can't just repeat this stuff because they've had an experience. You got to do something new. Otherwise, there's no reason to get excited when other stuff happens. Like
The last season, why would they do something new?
I mean, when we finish this show, I'm not going to have a lot of high things to say about the character because I feel that the character has just been repetitive. And I'm sorry, I don't know if Cameron Bickendove has really made her easier to watch because of the same storylines that they're kind of getting into. I'm not saying that she's a bad actor, but they've never given her much to do where she felt that she's really risen above the material. Although I would say that, like, when she was telling Bruce off, that was good acting because she was, like, getting teary-eyed and stuff. That was pretty good acting. Mm-hmm. But generally, I'm rolling my eyes constantly at her scenes.
Well, and they have good chemistry together. Like, we've said that since season 1. I thought. At least I have.
I didn't feel it until season 2 or 3. I forget, but it wasn't season 1 because I just wasn't into it.
When they were throwing muffins at each other.
Yeah, no. I was like, God, that's stupid.
That's why Jan's here always with a heart.
And, like, Peabody and, like, Strange are hiding behind, like, the bookcase. Like, but Strange, why did you lace, the, like, muffins with Indian Hill juice? Watch, Peabody, and see what happens.
But Strange, we've not been introduced yet.
I said, watch, Peabody, and see what happens.
And then she gets cat eyes, and he's like, see?
Peabody, WTF. Well, Strange, I guess you can say that I'm going through changes.
No, I mean, Selina gets cat eyes.
Oh. I thought you meant Peabody got cat eyes.
No, because, like, they threw the muffins in season 1, and then they were laced with, like, cat DNA or something. She eats the plant, she becomes a cat. For real.
And then Alfred trips over the muffin. Back to the hospital for me.
Bullock's like, again? I don't know. Do you guys disagree with me about her character?
I felt like it was her character.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was her character in the comic books too, but like I said, I've only seen the New 52 comic books.
She's pushing Bruce away. That's what she does, when she's upset. So, like, it's not out of character for me. I don't necessarily love it, but at the same time too, like, I see through her. I see through her whole, like, I didn't care. I only cared about me. Like, you were like 12 or 13 years old when you watched that happen. Like, what was she gonna do? I mean, if we don't have that much else to say about Selina, I mean, I guess Jeremiah's cliffhanger with, who could those people be? And Donovan pointed this out to me, but before Selina stabs him, the last episode, Jeremiah, like, is saying under his breath, he's gonna love it. He'll hate it. No, he won't hate it. He'll love it. So we now know he's talking about his gift for Bruce, which is, these two random people.
Yeah. Because it's still a cliffhanger.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we know enough about the cliffhanger that we can connect the tissue to what he was saying the last episode that you pointed out.
Yeah, because he was muttering to himself under his breath, and he sounded like he was insane. I thought he was talking to himself, but clearly he was talking to himself in the way that I thought he.
Between last season and this season, I keep on getting their names. Jeremiah has been a lot more Joker-like.
Me too.
Because last season he was kind of stoic, and he was definitely different than Jerome. This season, there's a lot more Heath Ledger in him, in terms of how he comes off, and he's not as violent as.
I would say he's more manic than he was, but I wouldn't say Heath Ledger-y.
I guess it's just the voice that he's doing, but he's much more recognizably, and it's not just the face. He's much more recognizably behaving like Joker, the way he interacts with Echo and stuff, which is good. I don't know why that happened, on the character's turn, because he was very different last season, but whatever.
Well, he's got a girlfriend now. You know how girlfriends change people.
You don't know how girlfriends change me. You would never know.
Don't have them.
And Josh yanks his collar.
Yeah, but no. His plans have fallen through, except for the Bridges thing. He is acting a lot more manic. He is still the whole him telling her she's getting sentimental does to me call back to the Jeremiah we know from last season, because he is more calculated and a lot more cold than holy shit, Jerome. I was like, Jebediah, Jehoshaphat? He is a lot more cold and calculated than Jerome, who seemed way more manic and even though he had plans, always felt more like he flew from the seat of his pants. This sounds like fun and I'm going to do it, versus this is my plan, this is what I'm going to do. I do like how there is that callback to how he treats Harley canonically. I mean, I honestly, it's not an ideal relationship under any circumstances, but I always really liked it. I wouldn't want to be in it, but I do like reading it, and I do like watching it, so.
At least you acknowledge how messed up it is.
Yeah, I don't want to, everyone's like, why have this kind of relationship when you can have this Joker-Harley relationship? And I'm just like, can I just have Gomez and Morticia? Because that feels like a better relationship.
Also, they've never been in a relationship. It's all in Harley's head. They're not... He's always treated her as a sidekick. They've never actually been, a couple. That's been kind of, fan art and stuff. So, the whole idea of, them being in a relationship is kind of, it's sort of conjugated, but conceived in the minds of a lot of fans who really like Harley Quinn and really like the Joker separately. But I've never read a story where he's giving a shit about her.
That doesn't mean they're not in a relationship. That just means that he doesn't give a shit about her. You don't have to give a shit about somebody to be in a relationship with them. I mean, you can marry people you're not in love with.
No, but you know what I mean. But he's never shown her affection in a way which lends itself to patterning after that.
She was still his girlfriend.
Except when she's withheld affection and he's wanted the attention from her. Therefore, he'll act boyfriendly very briefly if he needs something from her, and then it's right back to the status quo.
Because he has her back as his girlfriend, where he knows he has control over her.
You know what? I take it back.
Is this going to be another Butch and Tabitha?
Because you forget how abusive relationships work.
I mean, I'm not been in one, but I shouldn't say that. But at the same time, I should. I also take back
so big.
I should also take back that in Suicide Squad, he's head over heels over her. So there's that. Suicide Squad's one version I've seen where he actually pursues her and like means it, which is strange. And
Yeah,
the
but
movie
he could be
sucks.
pursuing her because like he wants the attention from her or something. Like we don't see like
He dresses up as a
interacting.
cop and hijacks a helicopter, and he has a whole like costume party for her. Have you brought back Harley Quinn? Hee hee.
No, I do like in the what's it called? The animated series, it really seemed like they were a couple most of the time.
Oh,
Unless
no.
he was getting away and then leaving her behind was like a way to get away.
No, because like he kicks her out in the episode where she hooks up with Ivy. There's Matt Love. He leaves her to he would have left her to die in that Harley Quinn 8 episode. Like I don't know if he ever like showed affection for her in the cartoon, unless he was like manipulating her, like baby, you're the greatest kind of thing. Like, you were going to come back for me, weren't you, Puddin'? Of course I was, but you're here now, so I can shape the trip. But what about our friends? Ivy and Two-Face and Lizard Man and Puppet Head and Hat Guy.
Don't forget about your little pets.
Little baby!
I'll get you a goldfish, let's go! No! Why are you little?
Yeah.
That's one of the best exchanges.
But like I said, an abusive relationship is still a relationship. It's just a bad one.
Well, but that's not what
He doesn't know how to like be like your normal boyfriend, and he doesn't think like a normal boyfriend. But he was totally.
But the way that people can tend, and I don't know if I actually had talked about this conversation before, but like, the way people tend to romanticize the relationship in like the fan community, and obviously it's not every fan, but some fan community, is like the idea that they're both so insane that that insanity fuels their love. That's a love that doesn't exist.
No.
It's completely unrequited.
No. So this is the argument of, remember when you asked me why I liked Harley Quinn?
I said why people like Harley Quinn, but go ahead.
No, you asked me specifically, I remember, because you kept saying you tell me. And I'm like, okay.
We're going to have to listen back to that episode then.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and listen to it. Because I was annoyed. I was like, I really don't want to answer this question, and you kept pushing it. She was the very first henchwoman who was in love with a villain who did not leave the villain for the hero who treated her better.
What?
Even go watch any 80s film where you have the good girl and the sexy bad girl, or any Bond film. You can watch Bond basically bone any woman who is trying to kill him, and then she becomes a good woman and then dies. Go find me one that isn't dead. And including Eva Green. Any sort of 80s film, the guy usually, the hero shows up, treats his lady love like in a really good way. Then the bad henchwoman who's in love with the bad guy usually realizes that she's not being treated properly, and then she either falls in love with the hero or realizes that she's in an abusive relationship, and then totally turns on the bad guy who she's been with forever, and then dies either heroically or he kills her because she betrayed him, and then she's like an afterthought. But that didn't happen with Harley. She became this amazing phenomenon. Yes, she's in a really bad relationship with this guy, but even though Batman shows up and like is like, dude, this doesn't even make any sense, she's like, F you, I know what I want, and then she keeps doing what she wants, even though like it is like a really bad relationship, and she does get hurt repeatedly. And it is a cycle that she keeps herself in, obviously, as a psychologist. But it is still on her terms, and she leaves him eventually, but she leaves him on her own terms. I mean, she has other people help show her the way, but it's not like, oh, Batman showed up and then showed me that he doesn't give a shit about me, so because Batman did this, I'm going to leave him. Do you know what I mean?
Sort of. I don't know how that like, but that's still like, you know, I mean, I guess that's how people kind of bring out, you know, well, this is this is a coupling that we can kind of, you know, admire for that reason, I suppose. But I guess I don't see the thread as cleanly.
I was horrified when she and Nightwing had sex in Batman and Harley Quinn.
What?
Remember you?
There was an animated movie a year and a half ago, Batman and Harley Quinn, and it's like a team up movie. Like Batman and Nightwing have to get Harley Quinn's help to stop like Poison Ivy from destroying the world, and she. The consent is very dubious, but like she has sex with Nightwing.
The movie's also a comedy, so like I kind of don't take it that seriously as I did like the Killing Joke.
Right, it's not canon,
That
you
is
know.
not what I want. That is not the one that I wanted. Hold on, let me find the right face. Is it this one? There we go. That's the face.
Yeah, it was very, very. It was very, very like. The consent was dubious because she like ties up Nightwing on like the bed, and she like sees that he has like an erection because she's like changing in front of him. And he's like, ooh, and she like climbs on top of him, and he's like, no, this isn't a good idea. And then she's like, if we do this, then I'll let you go and I'll help you stop Ivy. And like she like turns off the lights, and he says, the things I do for Gotham. And like,
we're smiling.
Unfortunately.
So it didn't really happen. It was a joke.
Well, it was a joke when Batman came in and saw like Harley's like panties on the floor and looked at Nightwing, and like
She's taking the piss.
Nightwing had this like look of shame on his like face.
That is so awful.
Oh, that
But to be
was
fair, Dick is a hoe, so
Not to that extent, though. I really don't like villains having sex with the heroes because it's like that's why I didn't like Catwoman #1 because it's like, well, we don't know who each other are. It's like, then why are you doing this?
the same reason Spider-Man fucked Felicia. Dude, calm down.
Well, he knew who she was.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
she didn't know who she was at the time.
Yes, she did. That was.
No. Before he showed her who he was, didn't they have sex in costume?
Josh.
no, they were about to, but then Dr. Octopus interrupted them. But then like they didn't actually like consummate the relationship until after he unmasked.
I thought they had rooftop sex.
No, that was in later books. And now, granted, they did have sex years later when she forgot his identity because she like forgot because of a magic spell. But she remembers again now because he like set that right.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts on the cliffhanger with Jeremiah, Jan? Like, do you come to the same conclusion that most of the internet has and such too with
Parents?
Okay, yeah. It's not a secret that that's like supposed to be his parents because like the actors, it was either the actors who played his parents were seen on set or it was like people who looked like them. Like I remember like that was like photographed and people were like, ooh, why are they bringing back Bruce's parents? Is it for a flashback? And then when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, it's for this. And then
I didn't know all that. I just gleaned it from what I saw on the screen, which was they went into Wayne Manor, and I love family reunions, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Penguin's parents, obviously.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Or Ivy Pepper's parents, who would not recognize her one bit. Or Selina's parents.
Did they ever say what happened to Ivy's
dead.
mom?
Yeah, she killed herself.
Okay.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. I had to look that up too, because like I forgot, but it's mentioned in Lovecraft when like Bruce and Selina like meet up with Ivy at like the underground like orphan village from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But anyway, okay, so any thoughts on the whole Jeremiah, Bruce's parents thing? I mean, obviously that'll play more into other episodes.
Well, this kind of goes back to like my whole. I know that they became friends when they made that generator, which I guess was like Jeremiah's plan from the get go. So, arguably, you could say that he engineered a relationship with Bruce. And we've had this conversation before, but I still think it's the show kind of like jackhammering a Batman and Joker dynamic in a way which feels inorganic. It's cool. It's nice. It's fine. But going by the shows, like this, they didn't earn this relationship like they did the Riddler and Penguin relationship. And so it's nice for what it is, but it doesn't feel complete.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
It reminds me of Bart Simpson and Sideshow Bob, though, where like Sideshow Bob right off the bat is not like I must destroy Bart Simpson. It's just like Bart Simpson was involved in like enough of his schemes where like eventually that relationship developed. Like Jeremiah didn't come out the gate like I must destroy Bruce Wayne, but then because of like Bruce Wayne's ties to his like brother,
because when he revealed himself to be crazy, he was like, I consider you my very, very best friend. I really hope you don't stop me. Oh, one episode later, let's do the killing joke with Alfred.
That's fair.
And then like he ends up shooting Selina. I mean it. Like they've developed relationships in this show that are very well rendered. But this feels like well done fan service, but it's still fan service that doesn't really. It doesn't feel like they've it's kept track, and I can't not mention that every time they do that.
You can SpongeBob me if you want when I say this, but like I think that the whole like him being that obsessed with Bruce early on, it started off as basically like him trying to one up his brother because his brother had the Bruce Wayne obsession, and like him trying to like outdo all of his brother's plans and stuff. Like the whole Bruce Wayne thing was a part of that.
There wasn't so much an obsession as like sort of like finished business, because the last thing that Jerome did, was it even to do with Bruce Wayne? Wasn't it more kind of like the city thing? Oh no! He did invite Bruce Wayne on that stage. Never mind. I do remember that.
Yeah. And Gordon's like, now Bruce, we need you to wear this bomb on your birthday and go up on stage next to the guy that wants to kill you.
Yep.
What?
It's my birthday. I don't want to go.
Right. No, but I do. He was a recluse, and then he has this one guy show up, and then he can protect him from his brother, and it's like the first guy that isn't like his one, what's it called? Who isn't Echo. So literally he is his very best friend because he's his only friend, because the guy's a recluse. So couple that with the whole Jerome obsession and the one-upping, and then you've got like, I don't know, he's clearly not all there in the head to begin with. He also had that laughing gas.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it needs to be like super like earned. I mean, in my opinion, it's like he just has an obsession because he's crazy, and then this guy came into his life and he was like safe and nice to him. And there are lots of people who, as someone who used to hang out with like people who didn't have any friends, and also being someone who didn't have any friends when I was younger, when you find that one person that you feel safe around and you want to be around them all the time. You want to give them things. You want to make them happy. And I feel like that's kind of what happened in this, because Bruce is not sitting there going like, you are my very best friend. It's just solely coming from Jeremiah. And he does worry about Jeremiah, or he did to begin with, but it makes sense to me from Jeremiah's side.
Yeah, ultimately the Joker doesn't need much of a reason to do what he wants to do. I guess to me it's just the show's John Steven and Danny Cannon's rendering of like that relationship and the development
or the confines they're working in, because they're still not letting them like pull the trigger on Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever happened to the laughing gas? I guess it was always Jerome's thing.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he hasn't had a need to use it. Like, because all he's done this season is like dig a tunnel and get stabbed.
I do like the fact that like he's not scarred up. He's not his face wasn't torn off. I like how he looks as the Joker. Like his face is white and all that kind of stuff, but it's not jacked up. It's not Jack Nicholson. It's not Heath Ledger. It's not the New 52 version. I prefer the sort of untouched face Joker, because he looks great as him. He has a great voice for him. he has great kind of mannerisms and stuff. So like, it's working out
He's
well.
so handsome.
Is there anything from this episode that we haven't like dissected, or like that's worth talking about? Like, there's stuff that we haven't talked about in depth, but stuff that's like not worth saying. Like, oh boy, there sure was rednecks, and like, yeah, that sure was funny when Nigma said you shot Butch.
I didn't say that. I didn't think that was funny. I like that he threw it in his face.
I like the scene between Bruce and Bullock, where like Bruce is like, people are losing the will to do good, which is kind of my deal with him in Batman v Superman. But like I like, because as a kid you would feel him losing losing spirit quicker, and they every now and then have scenes together, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, agreed. It was cool. Pretty cool. Bullock had a lot of time to shine in this episode. I really like that. Because he's usually just like, ghost.
There's no such thing as ghost, Harvey. An actual line from like.
I know he really said that. That was awesome. Well, I agree that like, yeah, this was a big one. Like, Bullock, you're the best cop I know, and I was like, that can't be possibly true, but whatever.
Oh yeah, like, aren't you always like saying to him like, hey, stop taking bribes or like doing stuff, or or like, you're the best cop I know, and like Alan and Montoya are off on stage left like crying silently, like,
I like how it's season 5 and you are still mentioning these people who don't exist.
They're a figment of our imagination.
Alan and Montoya. People are like, who the fuck are those people? And you're like, from season 1, like the first half, and you're just like,
yeah, like not even like the whole thing of season 1, like the first half of season 1, like they never shared a scene with Marina Baccarin. That's how long ago it was. I think that like Renee Montoya is in one episode that Marina Baccarin's in, but it would be like the one where like she leaves at the beginning and is like, Barbara, we're toxic. I need to get out of here because the writers ran out of ideas for me. And like she leaves. There's
a really depressing sort of like series of images when the show was coming out. It was like, Gotham, the latest iteration of the Batman legend. And you saw like, Ben McKenzie and Robert Lord Taylor and Jada Pinkett Smith all dressed up nice and fancy. And you saw the actors for like Christopher Salen and Renee Montoya, like, like really dressed to the nines. And it's like, there's no reason for them to be here.
Along with Claire Foley, like they were like equally as like prominent as like Claire Foley and like Davi Mazouz and stuff.
When we give this show its final spanking, when everything's said and done, we will talk about like this is kind of the way that they abuse the cast in terms of inclusion, because there are several characters beyond Renee Montoya and Christopher Salen that they kind of just kick to the curb after spending a lot of time setting them up. Because it's not like those characters didn't work. It's not like they needed to leave. Like, Barbara should have left season 1. Like it's not like those characters were intrinsically wrong with the tone of the show, but like they just failed them.
So before we get into like food hungry and stuff, I'm looking at something that I like doing is the live reactions from Reddit. Bruv, this man bringing out the father and mother puppets.
Bruh.
Hang on, how did Jeremiah survive? And then someone answered armor, and then that person followed with plot armor. And then another person said,
true.
And another person said, Sophia Falcone being in a coma is plot armor. Jeremiah knowing what Selina would do and playing her completely is exactly what I would expect from a supervillain genius that managed to blow up Gotham.
You know what? Let's stick on that for a second, because like, yeah, she didn't try to chop off his head. She didn't try to shoot him at all. He says, I knew she would try to stab me. Like, he didn't even know for sure that she was going to come for revenge.
Are you sure he didn't know?
Pretty darn. Because she says, by the way, Selina Kyle's coming after you, and she can walk again. Maybe he knew then. But they were talking as though, like, I knew Selina would come get revenge sooner or later. What?
I just love how, like, you get so... What is the word I'm looking for?
Stupid with anger.
You get so put out when something is ridiculous. It's like, how? It's like, it's Gotham.
So many of these comments are like, Jeremiah, oh my gosh, no, Jeremiah, I love Jeremiah so much. Jeremiah effing pulled a hush. LOL, she literally shook her head. Oh yeah, rattle, rattle. They're talking about Echo.
It did rattle.
Yeah. Oh shit, are those Bruce's parents? Is that Wayne Manor? Yeah. Let's see.
It was, guys. It was Wayne Manor.
Guess Strange isn't needed for Jeremiah. And then someone said, oh yeah, people really thought he was dead. Other than Bruce's parents, does anyone truly stay dead in Gotham?
No.
Jojo the dog and Haven. Oh, that's cold. And then they mentioned Maroni and Falco.
Jojo.
Edward standing there like a statue while Eduardo and Jim had their confrontation. That was funny. Robo Ed.
Oh yeah. Strange doing open brain surgery on Ed, like he's freaking Hannibal Lecter. Like, you'll feel the pain, but you won't say anything. Which honestly, I like how brutal he was in this episode. That was actually really Hugo Strange-esque. Like, he's a mad scientist who gives no shits, and like in this way, that can be deadly. I thought that was really cool.
Put top 10 anime betrayals.
It was a top 10 anime betrayal. Let's be real.
And someone, a lot of people are asking if Walker is supposed to be Amanda Waller. She's not.
That's what I thought. He said to begin with. Like, my brain was like Waller, and I was like, wait, no, he said Walker.
If they cast Jamie Murray for the role of a like from the ground up, Rhodes Scholar, middle-aged mother of several children, black woman, then that would have been worse than what they did to Bane.
Yeah, I was like, well, this podcast has ended. Josh just does the rest of it by himself.
I just do everyone's voices.
Oh my god, Marty!
I thought the bunker door was a toilet at first. I guess he has a penguin cave. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh no! I gotta show you guys this.
Oh no!
It's gonna set Josh off, but it's a funny image.
Oh god! BD Wong is such a good Hugo Strange. All right, here we go.
Oh my god! Oh god! No! How did you do this? No!
Don't blame me. Blame Chris Chalk. Oh, did he get married?
He's been married.
Oh, nice.
Ben McKenzie goes up behind him I know just how you feel, dog.
But he's actually dressed like a homeless guy in that.
Where's your Armani suit?
Apparently he was in the newsroom. Interesting. And 12.
I'm looking for funny Reddit comments. No one's is that person Lee? It's just people oh my gosh, Jeremiah. Oh my gosh, Bruce's parents. Oh my gosh, Jeremiah. Oh my gosh, Bruce's parents.
Well, are people mad that that the explanation of Jeremiah's survival was basically shit? Or is that just me?
Only one person has been so how did he survive? Plot armor. You shot Butch, which is why I needed you. Yep, the Gotham logic checks out.
In fairness, the Joker always survives, but he died twice in the show, so...
Here's a good one. I was sewing up your knife wound and accidentally cut open your brain, put a chip in there, and gave the command codes to other people so they can pull your strings like a puppet. Welcome to Gotham. Oh, this is funny. Bruce, what kind of person would just get drunk?
24, 2017. You got married 2 years ago.
Okay.
Here's a funny one. Bruce, what kind of person would just get drunk, party, and not give an F like the... Oh.
Well, I like when Eduardo said, you, why did you stay in the city after all this, Riddler, puzzle bomb bullshit? And he's like, it grows on you. It's like, that's not an answer.
It is when you are a homeless cop.
I have no place to stay.
The locker rooms are very, very liberal here about how long you're allowed to sleep on the bench. How long has Gotham been in Alabama? I was about to ask when Gotham got hollers.
Trish Chalk is currently filming a miniseries about the Central Park 5. That'll be interesting.
Ooh. Jim, Ed stands trial. Jim, did you forget about Penguin's version of Trial from last week? He did the fast thing. I don't know what they're referring to.
Like him probably like wooing outside the window.
Jeremiah Valeska deserved to die. In other news, Waters went. All right, I think we've exhausted this Reddit stuff. So let's go to.
That was all you. We were just sitting here waiting.
I was hoping that people pointed out Jeremiah's survival, but I have the Futon critic if you want me to read it.
I got it up too because I'm at work. But next week's actually it's Valentine's Day because it's a skip week. Valentine's Day. And will you be our Valentine with the episode, 13 Stitches? Gordon assembles an unlikely team to protect Gotham from Eduardo Durance and his Delta Force. Just as Lee Say what?
I can't deal with you.
Well, you're going to have a harder time dealing with me after this next sentence. Just as Lee Tompkins resurfaces, Barbara reveals some shocking news that will change Gordon's life forever.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, Selina and Penguin team up to outsmart fellow villain Magpie, guest star Sarah Schenken, in the all-new 13 Stitches episode. I'm sure when they team up, Selina's going to be like, I wish Tabitha was here. She would have so much fun with us right now. Penguin like, yeah, Tabitha.
They're doing a lot of 90s Batman movie references. Like, last episode is Batman Forever. The next episode is Batman Returns.
Right. So guest stars Cameron Monaghan. Yeah. Guest star Cameron Monaghan as Jeremiah Valeska, Shane West as Eduardo Durance, David Carenza as Angel Valenega.
Valenega.
That's Bird.
Sarah Schenken as Magpie, and Jamie Murray as Secretary Walker.
They credit her for this current episode, but I don't think we heard her voice. Did we?
I think it's probably because they just talked about her.
So she gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, like Harvey Dent got paid for an entire season. Okay, Gotham 13 Stitches. Let's watch this promo.
I need a link.
Okay, hold on. I'll put it in the previously on Gotham.
Na, 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 na.
So, any thoughts on that promo?
You'll be the bane of all of love.
You really think so? She was talking to me, homeless cop. Eduardo, why are you wearing that thing on your face?
Like,
Jamie Murray's father is named Bill Murray, which is funny.
Is he the Bill Murray?
I'm afraid no. But
okay.
He's done a lot of voice work for Modern Warfare.
It seemed like you weren't sure how that sentence was going to end when you started it, so you were prepared for it there.
They have that version of Magpie is specifically the version from the Beware the Batman cartoon, where she kind of had that silver wig, because Magpie in the comics had like a bizarre, like kind of mohawk looking haircut. In the Superman Man of Steel miniseries where he first meets Batman.
That was going to be Magpie, but they decided to change their plans.
Well, she's a villain that they could introduce in season 5 with no consequences. Like Bane, no, but her, yeah, sure, why not? She's D-list. It doesn't matter. Like she's a step above Headhunter.
Yeah, exactly.
I was waiting for them to bring back Harvey as Duella Dent.
They
what?
John Stevens told me at New York Comic Con that at one point they were going to make Barbara Keene Magpie, and they decided not to.
That's what I said. I literally just said that.
I heard you say Duella Dent.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. You must have cut out. We didn't hear that.
I heard you say bring back Harvey Duella Dent, but that might have been like how my brain interpreted what those words were for some reason.
No, I said that after I said that they were going to make Barbara Magpie, and then Don said, yeah, they could bring in Magpie without any whatever.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Whatever. I give up.
But Lee comes back for Valentine's Day, so there's that. And we all know what my theory is about what Barbara's shocking news for Jim is, but just for fun, let's come up with alternate theories about what the important news is that will change Jim's life forever.
I'm dying.
He's like, it'll be like when Fry and the guys found out that they were going to do Death by Snoo Snoo. Like they're like trying not to smile, but they're smiling.
Gordon would be happy to hear that. What? Even for this character, that doesn't make any sense. Like, Gordon, I'm dying, and like he's like trying to suppress his laughter. I don't get it. What the fuck?
I mean, after all that they
Why are you laughing so hard?
Don's reaction just broke me.
That made no sense.
Yeah. Or change his life forever. Gordon, your rich uncle died and he left you a mansion in the will.
Just greenlaid me back on my...
Yeah, I mean, do you think they could lead up to a baby and then fake it out? Like they did with Lee in season 2?
It's hilarious it's the final season. It's hilarious to me that if this is a baby, like my initial prediction at the beginning of the season was, oh, they're going to slowly bring him and Barbara back together, and maybe during the 10-year time skip they'll be married with kids. No. It's like one night stand in season 4, baby in episode 6.
What if because they got together so quickly that like not only is she pregnant but she actually like gives birth that episode? Jim, I have a surprise for you. Meet your new daughter.
What? But the birth control pills, they were from Indian Hill Gym. Which
so
means
this super didn't work.
Pregnancy. Yeah.
I'm done. We're good here.
How do you know that kid's even mine? And like the kid has like
women until now.
Say what?
I've only had sex with women until now.
The baby's first words were homeless on Scott.
Well, how do I know that kid is yours? And then like the hand is like glowing. He's like, oh boy.
That's our cue.
Get out. Yeah, we're good.
So until next time, this is Josh.
Until next time, this is Donovan. And as that camel said, you can listen to the Gotham Chronicle on BatmanUniverse.net. We will see you next time.